Hey everybody and welcome back to Inside Gaming. It's the weekend and it's no secret that a lot of us have some pretty massive backlogs of games to play, and as we demonstrated last week with our games to play in quarantine video, we now have a lot of time to get through that backlog. But what if you don't actually have a backlog at all? That's where services like Xbox Game Pass come in. But after signing up for the service, it just dumps over 400 games on your lap and expects you to figure out what's worth playing. So today we're going to take a look at some hidden gems on Xbox Game Pass to help you get started on some gaming adventures and help cure your boredom. For obvious reasons, we're going to avoid talking about games you'd most likely already heard of or potentially planned on playing. Things like Devil May Cry 5, Final Fantasy 15, Gears 5, Halo the Master Chief Collection, Monster Hunter World, etc. But it's worth mentioning that there are a ton of big AAA games, both new and old, available, and they're worth looking into as well. So without delay, here's a few great games that will help us fend off boredom while we're stuck at home. And don't worry, we'll have a little lower annotation telling you if it's available on PC, Xbox One, or both. We got you covered. Let's start with some recent additions first. Death's Gambit is a 2D Metroidvania that pits your quick and precise reaction time and pattern recognition skills against huge bosses and savage enemies as you quest to finally rid the world of the ancient evil immortals. It's described as one part Castlevania, one part Dark Souls, and just a dash of Shadow of the Colossus, and it definitely looks and plays those parts very well. The game isn't exceptionally long, ranging between 10 and 15 hours depending on how much you want to explore its depths, but if you're looking for a quick and fun yet slightly punishing romp into a medieval world, you can't go wrong with Death's Gambit. From the makers of Skullgirls comes one of the most beautiful RPGs to be released last year, Indivisible. And much like Skullgirls, Indivisible features beautifully hand-drawn art and animations throughout the entire game. Indivisible stars Ajna on a quest to discover the secrets behind the mysterious powers that awoke inside of her after her village was attacked, and of course, save the world. This adventure will take you anywhere from around 20 hours to a little over 30 hours to complete. Fans of the Valkyrie profile series will see a lot of that here, with a very similar mix of turn-based combat and Metroidvania-style platforming. But Indivisible takes it a step further with some absolutely wild boss fights and jaw-dropping animation. Okay, we've talked about both Ori games at length in other videos, but this is just your tiny reminder that both Ori and the Blind Forest and the brand new Ori and the Will of the Wisps are both available on Game Pass. If you'd like to hear our thoughts on the Ori games, we'll link our review of Will of the Wisps in the description. Imagine waking up in a cave and finally deciding to venture out into the world. A little on the nose at the moment, right? Well, in Pikuniku, this is the start of your journey into an abstract world full of quirky characters and physics puzzles to be solved. One of the shorter games on our list, clocking in at around 3 hours to complete, Pikuniku stars Piku in his adventure to rebuild a bridge and then get to the bottom of a deep state conspiracy. But despite that last part, the game is never too dark nor too serious, and is a great way to take a break from the action of a lot of other games. Best part, if you're in lockdown with a friend or partner, there's a co-op mode with new puzzles to twist your brains with. But if you are looking for action, Game Pass recently added The Surge 2 to scratch that itch. You play as a custom character who is on the way to Jericho City, but while traveling, your plane is shot down and you awaken sometime later in a prison. After receiving visions from Athena, you are given the title of Warrior and tasked with saving the world by destroying a nanite infestation that has taken over the world. So you're going to be restoring peace to the world through violence. Gameplay is very similar to the Soulsborne games, but with a cyberpunk-esque coat of paint. So if you're looking for something a little Dark Souls-y, this will definitely scratch that itch. And with a campaign lasting over 30 hours, it's got a lot of staying power. One of the more unique and niche games on the list, World of Horror is a point-and-click style adventure game in the vein of Shadowgate, but with a much darker and more sinister twist. The game's description is awesome as hell, too. The old gods are reawakening, clawing their way back into a world that's spiraling into madness. In hospitals, abandoned classrooms, quiet apartments, and dark forests, strange appearances and unexplainable phenomena test the sanity of residents in Shiokawa, Japan. Is it chaotic retribution or the machinations of beings beyond our comprehension? Just gives you chills, doesn't it? Developed as a one-bit love letter to Junji Ito and H.P. Lovecraft, World of Horror combines turn-based combat with roguelite and point-and-click gameplay. And despite being one-bit, this game isn't for the faint of heart. So if you're a horror fan and looking for something just a bit different than your usual fare, World of Horror is worth checking out. Last but not least on the new editions recommendations is Yakuza 0. The Yakuza series has seen a recent surge in popularity worldwide, and Yakuza 0 is the best place to start if you're interested. Players are dropped into the roles of Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Majima as they dive deep into the drama surrounding a mysterious empty lot that all of the Yakuza heads are after. While the story itself is fairly serious and dramatic, the rest of the game is much less so. You'll spend your time exploring the Kamurocho and Sotenbori districts, doing side quests, beating up thugs, playing arcade games, singing karaoke, and lots more. all while trying to solve various murders, prove your innocence, and hopefully bring peace back to the districts. Easily one of the lengthiest games in the list, especially for completionists, you could happily spend over 100 hours doing everything in Yakuza 0, and you'll never be bored with a variety of gameplay offered. Alright, with new additions out of the way, here's a few more fun and underrated games to check out on Game Pass right now. If you've been watching the Inside Gaming streams, you'll know that we've all taken a huge liking to Astroneer. Minecraft but in space is a good way to start talking about Astroneer. There's crafting, terrain management, and an ever-expanding list of resources to collect. And most importantly, space travel. And there is a story here, it just takes a backseat to the exploration of the universe that's at your fingertips. Astroneer is a great game to pick up if you just want more crafting and exploration type games in your life right now. We would recommend playing it on PC as the controls work far better, but the Xbox One controller does do a decent enough job. Also, it's crossplay between Xbox One and PC, so grab your friends and explore the universe. In Creature in the Well, you play as the last Bot C unit as you venture into a seemingly abandoned facility in a means to save the city of Mirage from an oncoming sandstorm. But you'll be met with adversity in the form of various defense mechanisms and the titular creature that resides in the depths of the mountain's caverns. Creature in the Well is a pinball-inspired hack-and-slash dungeon crawler complete with unique abilities, items, and upgrades to better set you up to take on the increasingly difficult challenges found within. It's essentially pinball with swords, and if that doesn't sell you on giving the game a shot, I don't know what will. Alright, let's rapid fire off some roguelites and roguelikes. First up is Dead Cells. Seems like anything can be a Vania these days, and Dead Cells decides to go with Roguevania, encouraging players to explore the vast procedurally generated game like you would in a Metroidvania. The bonus is the faster you go, the more you may be able to find with certain rooms being locked after a certain allotment of time has passed. So the better you get, the faster you go, the more you're rewarded. And it's honestly one of my personal favorite games from 2018. Next is Downwell, and unlike many other roguelikes, Downwell isn't a top-down game or a side-scroller. Nope, it's all down from here. Playing as Weltaro, you decide to explore a nearby well in a park, but knowing how dangerous it may be, you strap gun boots to your feet and jump on in. Gameplay here is in the vein of simple to do yet difficult to master. You can move left, right, jump, only one on solid ground, shoot bullets from your gun boots, and fall. That's it. With various types of bullets to be found to use with your gun boots, and a devilishly increasing difficulty, Downwell will keep you entertained for hours even after you've completed it. With its sequel Exit the Gungeon announced recently, now is a great time to jump into, or back into, Enter the Gungeon. Wacky guns, wild enemies and bosses, and a group of unlockable characters makes Enter the Gungeon one of the most replayable roguelikes around. Plus, one of the playable characters has a passive ability that is Dog, which is just a dog that follows you around and helps you find secret items. Perfect. Okay, it's time to slow things down a bit with Grease, which follows around the titular woman Grease as she ventures around a colorless planet and makes her way to bringing color and light back to the world. Grease is a slower-paced platformer with a visual aesthetic somewhere between Limbo and Child of Light. You won't be dying in Grease, but instead your time in the game will be focused entirely on puzzles, platforming, and exploration of the vast, colorless world. It's never too challenging nor too easy, and is a peaceful palate cleanser for your daily frustrations or tired mind. The world has ended, the apocalypse happened, and yet you're still here, and it's time to rebuild society. That's the plot of My Time at Portia anyway. This is probably the most appropriate suggestion on the list, and the optimistic outlook throughout the game will more than likely help you through the situation we find ourselves in. It's up to you to start a new life in Portia. You'll be growing crops, tending to your livestock, rebuilding your father's workshop, and making friends with all sorts of colorful characters as the world around you becomes more and more of a bustling city and less of a dusty town. But crafting, rebuilding, and community aren't the only things you'll be focused on. You'll also venture off into the wilds and dungeons around Portia to find resources and fight off deadly monsters. My Time at Portia really has a little bit of everything in it, and if you're one of those folks who doesn't have a Switch and you're looking for something Animal Crossing adjacent to tide you over, you can't go wrong with this game. Outer Wilds was one of our favorite games from 2019, and for good reason. Its chill vibes, constant encouragement of exploration, unique setting, and clever use of time travel make it one of the most wholesome yet deep experiences you'll have playing a game. We won't go too far into detail on this one, but if you want to check out our review on it and learn more, we'll link that in the description too. For those who really liked Portal, we'd like to recommend the Talos Principle and the Turing Test, both extremely well done first-person puzzle games with some ominous undertones scattered throughout. The Talos Principle has you jumping into the role of an unnamed robot as you tackle over 120 physics-based puzzles puzzles while exploring the new and curious world you were thrown into. Meanwhile, the Turing test tosses you into outer space and has you in the role of Ava Turing, who's woken up after the ship's AI, Technical Operations Machine aka Tom, learns that the rest of Ava's team is in danger and in need of help. However, the base's records have been altered, and Ava, with the assistance of Tom, must solve an increasingly difficult list of tests in order to find out exactly what's going on. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the plot of these ones because they are a spoiler minefield. But again, robots, physics puzzles, a weird unnerving feeling as you play through the stories. If you liked Portal and wish Valve could count to 3, these will scratch that itch fairly nicely. Okay, so if you've been paying attention, it's no surprise that indie devs love the Metroidvania genre, which is why there are a lot of them to choose from. But Timespinner definitely stands out, and with it being available on Game Pass, it's a hard game to pass up. Timespinner harkens back specifically to the PS1 era and Castlevania Symphony of the Night, both in visual style and in music. The soundtrack itself was composed by Jeff Ball of Steven Universe fame and the folks at Power Up Audio who worked on other indie titles such as Celeste and Into the Breach. You play as Linnaeus as she is transported and stranded in a dark and mysterious world, but with her unique power to control and distort time, she embarks on a quest for vengeance against the evil empire. Use the time travel mechanic to outsmart enemies, solve puzzles, and traverse the Gothic-inspired world. And hey, it's also got a local co-op mode. Okay, so it's me, and you know that there has to be at least one Weebish game on this list. And for this list, it's Valkyria Chronicles, a tactics-based anime-esque alternate universe telling of World War II. Easily one of the weirdest sentences uttered on this channel thus far, and that's saying something. It honestly sounds like a bad game of Mad Libs, but the game itself is incredibly deep in its combat mechanics and unit building. Valkyria Chronicles is set in the year 1935 EC on the continent of Europa in the midst of the Second European War. You take control of a band of heroes from the Atlantic Federation in an effort to fight off the autocratic East European Imperial Alliance, aka the Empire. Your team, Squad 7, will be pit against increasingly more powerful groups of the Empire's forces as you attempt to bring this war to an end. Fans of the Fire Emblem series will see a lot of similarities here, both in combat and in the permadeath mechanic. Finally, we have Wargroove. If you desperately miss the Advance War series, Wargroove picks up that mantle and gives some much-needed updates to the formula without breaking it. Wargroove contains a robust campaign that follows the adventures of a new queen after the assassination of her father and her efforts to fight off an undead horde and other would-be invaders. But it also has a single-player puzzle mode with difficult map challenges in arcade mode, local and online co-op and competitive multiplayer, and the ability to make and share your own maps. Also, it has a dog and a suit of armor, so instant greatest game of all time material. Okay, before we go, for those of you who picked up a Switch for Animal Crossing and signed up for the Nintendo Online service, you should absolutely download the NES and SNES apps. For JRPG fans, there's Breath of Fire 1 and 2. Adventure lovers should give Crystallis a shot. If you want a good platformer, you can check out Demon's Crest or Blaster Master. And for puzzle fans, you can try out Super Puyo Puyo 2 and Wario's Woods. It was honestly tough making this list because there are just so many great hidden gems on Game Pass right now, and we couldn't possibly be able to list everything. So if you have some suggestions for your fellow gamers of games that we may have missed that are on Game Pass, go ahead and leave those in the comments. And you know what? Now is a great time to step outside your gaming comfort zone and try something a little bit more off the beaten path, or a game you would never have thought to try under normal circumstances. Expand those gaming horizons, everyone. Hopefully this list of games will help you get through these tough times we find ourselves in. And hey, this is just a friendly reminder from us at Inside Gaming to wash your hands, eat properly, exercise if you can, spread a little bit of positivity, and take care of yourself. So thanks for watching Inside Gaming, and we'll see you next time.